I read a study a few years ago. It was done by Harvard. I think it was published in the Science Journal of Science, and they had an app which people would respond to, and they got a ton of respondents. So it was one of the more massive studies on happiness that was ever done. And the way it worked was they asked people 3 questions. Um, First, uh, how happy are you right now? What are you doing? Was the second question. So, how happy are you? What are you doing in that moment? And then, how focused are you on that thing? Are you thinking about that thing, or are you thinking about how much are you thinking? Are you focused on the thing you're doing, and how much are you thinking about something else? So, or I think it was phrased, "Are you thinking about that thing, or are you thinking about something else?" And so, what they found after they analyzed all the data, um, they found out that no matter what you're doing, how focused on what you are doing had the most direct effect on how happy you are. So, and the reason I that really resonates with me because that's as far as the study went.
So high focus was high happiness
Focus on what you're doing. Yes. Focus on the activity that you're doing.
at hand, like now.
Yes, in that moment. And the I said, "Ah, this is a great study because this is what Buddhists have been teaching for thousands of years. They teach to keep your mind in each moment, moment by moment, and that's what the practice is supposed to ultimately teach you. And so, to me, that is a potential key to happiness. And um, yeah, I bring that up because if you think about clearing your mind, clearing out the thoughts, when they said when the amount your mind was wandering determines your happiness. The more it wanders, the less happy you are. The more focused you are on what you're doing, the happier you are. And it actually found out almost 50% of people, their mind was wandering during whenever they responded to the survey. So I think it's a pretty widespread thing, you know, pretty common for that to happen. And Zen teaches you to keep your mind in each moment. That's the practice. It's easy to say that. It sounds very simple, but it's hard to do, right? So it's an exercise that you can practice. It's like when I think I used this last week, but if you want to lift a lot of heavy things, it helps to practice with something small and keep lifting a little more and working your way up. Um, so one thing I suggested last time was just to try to meditate like a minute every day, and just kind of if you're um, try to establish a routine of just a minute a day, and um, that's just a baseline, and that kind of teaches you, uh, gets you trained to focus on a mantra while you're sitting and doing nothing. But then you have to live your life, right? So you can't just sit and meditate all day. So the idea here is that whatever you're doing, try to make that your mantra in life, and so that you're completely focusing on that, and try not to let any thinking come between you and what you're doing. Try to keep that same kind of focus. And it's a practice you just have to kind of engage to get better at. I think everybody's mind naturally tries to wander, especially with all the distractions and pressures of society, things like that. Um, so I think that if you find your mind wandering, you know, you might want to try just that little technique of breathing we practiced, at the beginning. And then that's one real quick way you can reset. Or if you can take a minute to sit, you can do that kind of while you're just get a moment to yourself, even if you're doing something. But, and if you have a minute, take a minute and meditate.